Imagine you're walking across a field and you trip on a stone. Now, you might think to yourself that stone has probably just been there forever. But if you found a watch on the ground, you wouldn't think the same thing. Even if you had never seen or heard of a watch, you'd look at it and you'd guess that someone made it because it looks like it was designed for a purpose. And like the watch, all of nature shows signs of design, suggesting it was created on purpose, and its design is way more complex than any watch or other piece of technology for that matter. Now, this scenario is a rehash of an analogy by William Paley in his book, Natural Theology, from 1802. The scenario is meant to make us see that belief in a creator of the universe is rational. And I agree. The position that our universe was designed or set in motion by some intentional force seems to be more plausible to me than the idea that it has always existed for no reason at all. Building on that notion, I also believe that life is beautiful, despite all of its suffering. And when I try to remove myself from my own suffering and consider it from a third-person perspective, I recognize the beauty in even the most terrible moments of my life story. So, given these two beliefs I hold, A, that the universe was created intentionally, and B, that it is more beautiful than painful to live, the logical consequence seems to be that life is a gift. In which case, just as it would be meaningful and fulfilling to honor anyone who gave me a gift more complex and beautiful than I can even fathom, I ought to honor my Creator, my God. And not only does this seem rational to me, but this is what I want to do, and I believe it's in my nature to feel this way. The problem, though, is that it would betray my reason and my conscience to subscribe to the formalism of any religious doctrine. I experience a disconnect anytime I try to equate my belief in God with belief in or adherence to a religion. Why would a benevolent and supreme God trick us by filling our culture with so many different religions, all of which require a commitment based on faith alone rather than reason? Over half of all humans adhere to either Christianity or Islam, and both of them are dogmatic in their promise of eternal torture for all non-believers. And because true belief is innate and never the result of choice, whether an individual passes or fails this heaven or hell test seems to be a consequence of causality. And this applies whether you believe in free will or not. Why would a benevolent and supreme God give us this test? Personally, hell seems irrational to me, and yet I fear it. On the other hand, heaven seems possible, but beyond the scope of what I can comprehend. My rationality tells me that it is not within my capability to comprehend any of the answers to all the questions that this train of thought provokes. But it seems to be the case that my experience was designed, and that beauty is innate to everything in the universe. And although I have to make a bit of a leap of faith to posit this, I do think that God loves me and all things. Furthermore, I could understand why an all-knowing, all-loving God would give us a structured code and discipline by which to live. After all, we are too unwise to determine what's best for us. But this confusing element of choice between religions seems ungodly. I would subscribe to the doctrine of any religion if only God made it clearly true to my imperfect human reason. But such is not the case. Reason is separate from faith. Faith can only ever be irrational. How could I be tested on whether I possess a quality such as faith that cannot be achieved through logic, but only through destiny? Why would God do that to me?